Hello, hello, beautiful people. I am excited to be back with you again. I know I say that every week, and y'all are like, Leah, really, are you excited again? But I am, I am. And there's so many special things happening that this week is something special. So I'm going to get into it. I first want to make sure I got to get my housekeeping out of the way. So welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody who is joining me live. I am excited to have you here. I definitely want to do a quick vibe check. How is everybody doing who's with me live? So if you're joining me live, please drop your city in the chat so that I can acknowledge you and shout you out and make sure that I know who is here with me live. And then for those of you who are watching this on the replay, please, by all means, I love that for you. I love that for me too. Lots of folks join us on the replay. Actually, I think it's like 75% of the folks actually watch this on the replay. So I love my replay listeners and my replay engaging folks who are engaging with the content. So we're streaming live on LinkedIn as well as on YouTube. You can find us in both of those locations. We're here every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I had to get that out of the way. If you're here with me live, please drop your city in the chat. Would love to acknowledge and would love to engage with you. The second thing that I want to make sure that I get out of the way before I get into the content, because we're continuing our series. Before I get into the content, if you're following me on any of the social platforms, you will see that the book Triumphs in the Trenches launched today for pre-sale on my website. So really, really excited. gemsforthejourney.org/triumphs is available for you to grab your pre-order copy. And with that pre-order, you get some dope stuff. You also get an opportunity to have a free coaching session with me. And you guys know that I love to work directly with people, individuals who are looking to level up in their career. Here at Career Gems for the Journey, we help professionals build thriving careers. But I also love to talk about negotiation and compensation and packages and all the things that kind of go along with that. So if you're looking for some resources to really help bolster your career in 2024, grabbing a copy of Triumph in the Trenches on my website at gemsforthejourney.org/triumphs is available right now. You can go do that first. And you grab that copy, you'll get an automatic link to book a coaching session with me that is included in your purchase of the book. So that's exclusive for those who are doing the pre-order. So I want to make sure that everybody's here knows that. And then lastly, once you do that, you also get the book. Your book will be signed by me personally. This book has been such an amazing experience, such a learning and kind of forcing me well outside of my comfort zone. There are 25 other anthologists that are just amazing people. And there's going to be a couple of them joining me on LinkedIn Live and a couple of them joining me on the Career Gems for the Journey podcast. I just want to get into it. I want to give you guys a behind the scenes perspective for the people who are literally using their intellectual property, their thought creation to come from the other side of whatever their professional experience is and tell you how to navigate and how to triumph in your own career. It has just been so phenomenal. I'm so excited to be able to collaborate with such a dope group of talented people. So do that. Grab your pre-order copy today. I will drop the link to the website at the end. And maybe I'll be able to drop it here in a second. But if my assistant has helped me out in the background, she'll be able to post it up for me. So now, we've been doing a series over the last 2 weeks, right? Two of our last sessions were focused on really thinking about this, like pause the work and go make some professional friends, right? Pause the work, pause what you're doing and go make some professional friends. And I mean friends in the context of people who are at work who can help you out. So as you guys see, I'm going full around the way girl energy today. For those of you who are joining me live, big hoop earrings. I got fresh braids. I have my entrepreneur sweatshirt on, which is from Mess in a Bottle. Love, love, love Mess in a Bottle. Another Black woman-owned business. You know, we are in Black History Month, so got to make sure that I shout out the Black-owned businesses that I love and that I patronize personally. So my entrepreneur sweatshirt. So I'm giving you guys full Black excellence today, but like not in the Black excellence, you have to be something other than yourself kind of way. I'm giving it to you in the this is who I am. This is the most authentic version of myself kind of way. And I love that even in the book in Triumph in the Trenches, as I mentioned before, I talk in my chapter specifically, which is about career accelerators and derailers, about spending years and years in corporate code switching and feeling like I had to be obligated to code switch. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term, code switching is basically when you have to be some other version of yourself in order to navigate in spaces where your most authentic self may not be well received, or it won't be well received. It's not even may not. So I talk about how I spent years in corporate code switching, and I would have never been able to pull off what I'm pulling off now working in corporate. I would have never felt like it would have been well received. So part of wearing the entrepreneur sweatshirt and the reminder to myself is that I'm showing up as myself, authentic version of me. And I love that. And I want that for you. So we've been talking about figuring out how to pause the work and go make some professional friends, right? And how this all ties together is ultimately there are certain rules and kind of requirements that go along with working in corporate America, nonprofit, academia, any of these large institutions, right? There's some rules that go along with that. And there's some rules that now may not need to be followed in the same way they did 20 years ago, right? So I wanted to have that conversation and kind of thread it in, because as I talk about pause the work and go make some professional friends, there's rule breaking that's happening here. And I'm telling you, it's rule breaking, not an external rule breaking like I may be doing by not code switching, but an internal rule breaking of you rethinking the way you're approaching your strategy for your career and the work that you want to do for whatever organization you choose to give your time and energy to. So that rule breaking, I'm here for it. I'm here for it because some things just need to be disrupted. The status quo just needs to be disrupted. Some things need to change, right? So we're going to get into it. The last three groups that I talked to you guys about making sure that you go and make some friends. The first one was executive admins. I mean, that one should go without saying. They are literally the lifeblood and the pulse of any organization. They have so much information. You want to build relationships with them. The second one was legal, and making yourself some legal friends so you know where the risks and opportunities are as far as the company is concerned. Absolute game changer. And making some friends in finance. Finance was the third group. You want to know where the money resides. You want to know where the money's moving to, where it's not moving to, who's getting budget, who's not getting budget. All of these things are very helpful for you to then manage your career. And now I'm coming back with two more. And these are real sleepers, very much sleepers. So if you're with me live, grab a pencil. And if you're listening on the replay, get ready to rewind, listen through one time and get ready to rewind, because it's serious. It's serious out here. So the first one is communications. So in every organization, there is a communications team. Some of that communications team will be focusing on external communications, right? So maybe they manage the company website, maybe they manage a company LinkedIn page, maybe they manage the company internal website, right? There's internal communications where you get updates on town halls or whatever posts are necessary to make sure information gets shared inside of your organization. The reason why it's important to build a relationship with communication is because internal and external communications are doing the work to tell the company's story. So they're going out and they're telling people, we're great for this reason, or we're working in this area, or they're telling employees, this is where we want to get better. So essentially what communications is doing is there was a broader strategy that got decided amongst the senior leaders in the organization. And they say, this is the strategy we're going to carry forward. And then they go forward and carry that strategy, but they do it in communications. Maybe it's in videos, maybe it's in photos, maybe it's in, TikToks, or maybe it's posting on LinkedIn. All of those things are already decided by a larger, much more influential group who works in the organization. And then they give that responsibility to comms. And I'm going to pause here. I'm telling you this because I know. I've said before that I literally am a corporate insider. I spent years and years working for organizations and then helping to lead those organizations. So I'm telling you this because I know. So knowing what communications is working on will help you to understand the story, the brand, maybe even something that feels like propaganda, but we'll leave that there. You want to know what they're telling external folks, and you also want to know what they're trying to convince you of, right? Because some leader in the organization said, this is what our employees need to know. So I want you to make sure your eyes are wide open to that, because that will help you to influence your strategy and say, all right, well, they're promoting this. This must mean they care about it. So then I want to make sure that I'm either close to it so I can benefit from that additional promotion or that proximity, or I want to make sure that I stay away from it because it feels inauthentic to me and to my voice and to my experience, but I want to be aware, right? Even if it's not your focus, being aware that it's happening is what I'm really trying to encourage for all of those who are riding with me here, right? So be aware. The second one, and this one is it blew my own perspective when I joined and worked directly with these folks in an organization, because almost no one knows they exist, right? It's a very small group, very exclusive, but they're so powerful. And that group is investor relations. Investor relations. So investor relations is normally a very small group. They kind of sit in between communications and finance. Some of them sit, supporting a strategy organization. Maybe they report directly into the CFO. I'm going to tell you they exist, right? Because if you work for a publicly traded company, that means that your company has shares, and those shares are those stocks, right? Those shares are being bought and sold all the time. So those people who are buying and selling shares are your investors, are the company's investors. The company you work for is investors. As you understand what the company is trying to do in order to help their investors feel confident that they should keep buying the shares, investor relations is where all of that intel comes from. So let me tell you a quick story about share price. There's an amazing book that came out maybe a few years ago, The Man Who Broke Capitalism. It's the story of Jack Welch and the General Electric organization. You guys may have heard me talk about this before. Long story short, share price is a huge indicator for Wall Street. And we know that Wall Street and the stock market dictates how corporations move, how they run. If you understand where your share price is and what your share price is doing, it will help to make a very clear story about what's happening in your organization. Because most CEOs, most CFOs, most people in the C-suite, their compensation is based on share price. So their compensation, there's some salary, there's some bonus, but a lot of their bonus and total compensation is based on the company's stock price if you work for a publicly traded company. So when you are thinking about where are the priorities of people who are sitting in those very senior parts of your organization, their priorities are going to be share price because it dictates their money, right? You follow the money, you'll know what the source of all excitement and challenges are in your organization. So if your CEO and your C-suite, everybody who sits senior in your organization is being compensated based on share price at the end of the fiscal year, you know that they're keeping an eye on share price and that their decisions are going to be directly impacted by that share price. So here's some homework for you. The homework is go and find out what your share price of your company is today, right? You can even see all this information is free. You can look at it, iPhone has a stock ticker, right? So if iPhone forces you to have an app on your phone, it's because people care about it. There's also, lots of platforms that are very attainable. Yahoo Finance is one that I find is really easy for beginners. Go and find out what your company share price is, and then look at the trend of the share price, maybe over the course of the last year, 18 months. You will see that share price impact and some decisions that your company are making are very aligned. That share price is a quarter to quarter measure. So every single quarter of the year is broken up into 4 quarters. Every single quarter of the year, you must close the quarter, right? Financially, you have to close the quarter. This is why you need to be talking to people in finance and investor relations. Every year you must close the quarter. I mean, every quarter you must close it financially. And then Wall Street will respond appropriately based on where your quarter closes. But before your quarter close, there's a discussion with, or in concert with your quarter closing, there's a discussion with investor relations, and that investor relations communication goes out to Wall Street, and that happens via an earnings call. So I know I'm giving y'all some dense stuff today. Dense stuff, so I'm going to give you a chance to pause. What's an earnings call? Why should I care? Every quarter, your company has to report its financial status, its earnings. And every quarter, your executive team gets together to figure out what are we going to talk to our investors about as it relates to our current performance and how we close the quarter. So you'll hear a lot of people talk about quarter to quarter decisions in large organizations. And that's because you have to close your quarter financially, and Wall Street often is going to respond to your quarter close. So when your executive team, the executives who work in your organization, I want to make sure I'm intentional with language, because they're not your executive team. They're the company's team. You happen to work for the company. So when the executive team makes a decision, this is what we need to do to talk to our investors about our earnings. Either we're going to tell them a story of how we're knocking it out of the park, how we maintained, how we delivered, how we are below our expectations. We're going to turn it around. This happens every single quarter. That's the other homework, right? We're here in the beginning of February. Go and listen to your next earnings call. Listen to the next earnings call that your company puts out. And what you hear being communicated to the investor community that's coming through investor relations and the executives in your organization will buy excellent equivalent. Like there's a 1-to-1 ratio where you'll hear what's being discussed in the earnings call, and you will see intentional strategies and action taken in order to do in your part of the organization, as it trickles down lower, what they expressed they needed to do on the earnings call. It's a direct correlation. And it has to be, because CEOs, executives care about their money, and their money is coming from share price. You close the quarter poorly and your share price is impacted, there will be some activities and repercussions. So I want you guys to be aware of how decisions get made in organizations, because the way you move and the way you choose to guide your own career, the way you choose to decide whether to stay or whether to go, whether this is the year for knockout performance or whether this is the year to take a risk and take a cross-functional role, a lot of that is going to be driven by things that don't come to you directly in your silo. This is information you have to go outside of your functional silo, outside of your functional expertise in order to get. And when you go outside of your functional expertise and you're talking to people who are in investor relations, and you're also talking to people who are in communications, you begin to understand what the story that the company is crafting. You understand what it is, and then you can use that information to make your decisions. Because if they're not talking about a particular department or a particular launch or a new product, there's a reason. There's a reason. Now, you might never find out exactly what the reason is, but you certainly know where their priorities are, especially when it comes to their public-facing priorities. And I want you to have that. So I want to give you guys a quick example. And I'm going to go a little long today because this example just popped up in my, everyday operation, in my own research in life. As I'm prepping for you guys, I'm also just a learner, right? I'm a learner by nature, and I'm constantly studying what's happening related to the job market and what's happening related to economic impact, so that I can advise my clients, corporations, and individuals on what's the best move to make as far as their talent goes. So I wanted to just call your attention to a pattern that I'm noticing. And I brought receipts for this one. So I want to make sure people, if you want to debate, I definitely want to debate with you. I want to learn more. I want to hear other perspectives, but I want to make sure that we have some receipts. So we're having a conversation that is based on data and fact. So there was a lot of discussion, and this is going to go back to the investor relations discussion. So I'm going to bring it together for you all. there was a lot of discussion in 2022 and 2023 about massive layoff. Massive layoff. I talked about it here on this platform. I talked about it on my podcast. Massive layoffs, and lots of people were affected. Actually, my organization did a study that did some calculations around how many people have been affected by layoffs or underemployment throughout their career, and it was greater than 40%. Based on the population of people that we were able to get feedback from in the study, 40% of people have been impacted by being laid off, downsized, or being underemployed. So just using that as a number. One, I wanted to make sure that I kind of destigmatize getting laid off or getting restructured in any organization, because it's just a part of working in corporate America these days for nearly 40% of the population. So let's set that as our guidepost. 40% of people have been either underemployed or gotten laid off as a part of a corporate downsizing or restructuring, right? So lots of discussion in 2022 and 2023, and it was causing kind of this like havoc and melee. The reason why I was personally invested in talking about it was first for the reason that I just said, that I wanted to really destigmatize getting laid off for folks, because there were a lot of people who were feeling like, oh, wow, 20 years ago, getting laid off was a sign that you were a poor performer or that you weren't a strong employee. And maybe that was true 20 years ago, but now in the year of our Lord 2024, getting laid off or being severed from an organization is almost like standard protocol when you work for corporate America. So I wanted to destigmatize it, and I wanted to really encourage folks to start looking at it as the company is going to do what's in their best interest. And they're going to do what's in their best interest because that's what their priorities are. So I want you as an individual to do what's in your best interest. So if you get a better window, a better opportunity, something that can help to grow your career, I want you to make sure that you pursue that without focusing on what the priorities of the company are for your career. So for example, I'm going to give you guys a real live example. So in May of 2023, Meta laid off 20,000. Some of the numbers have been a little bit inconsistent data-wise, but they laid off at least 20,000 people in their organization after a year-long effort to become more efficient, right? And this was a really indicator that the tech sector was not as plush and as accessible. It wasn't ever really accessible for a lot of people, but that it wasn't as plush and secure is the word I'm looking for, as it may have been in the past. So Meta went and did that. It caused a stir. Also, Salesforce laid off, Google laid off. There's actually a website, Layoff FYI, very useful tool. You can go over there and find what organizations have laid off and what they're doing. So that happened in May of 2023. Now here we are in February of 2024, right? So we're not even a full year out from that massive layoff that affected people's lives, people's livelihood, people's access to benefits, access to wealth, all of the things that come along as you're using your 9-to-5 or day job income. Now here we are, and Meta has announced a $50 billion with a B, a $50 billion share buyback. And this is according to Yahoo Money. So I'm coming with receipts. According to Yahoo Money, they have authorized a $50 billion share buyback. So less than a year ago, you finished up laying off 20,000 people. When you lay off 20,000 people, that allows the company to then put that money somewhere else. So, and they said that it actually cost them something like $2 billion in severances and all of the things that go with laying people off. So it cost them a ton of money to lay people off, but it still did not cost them as much money as they are planning to spend in their share buyback. And when you buy back shares of your own company, what it signals to Wall Street, going back to our investor relations and our quarter to quarter close, is You are trying to reinvest in your company. You are also trying to have less shares available on the open market. And there are lots of theories for what that is, and maybe we can talk about that in another section. If folks are joining me live and you want to talk a little bit more about share buybacks and what share buybacks mean for large organizations, drop buyback in the comment section, and I will definitely respond. I will come with that the next time we get together live. But the company shed a ton of labor. They saved a ton of money. When you shed labor, when you lay people off, when you sever, you save a ton of money. And then that company was then capable of investing multipliers of the money that they saved to lay people off into buying back their own shares. So it wasn't a matter of Meta couldn't keep those people and they couldn't pay them. It was a matter of making sure that they provided value for their shareholders. Shareholders are the people who are the investors in the company. Shareholders are the people who your investor relations group is making sure that they keep happy and that they keep focused on the priorities of the company so that they continue to buy shares, so it drives up the share price. So Meta made a conscious decision, and it wasn't just Meta. Google made a similar decision. Salesforce is making similar decisions now where they're shedding folks in their workforce and then toying with share buybacks either right before or right after they are laying off massive amounts of people. So Leah, get to the point. What does that mean? What that means is share price is always going to be a priority for publicly traded companies. And the more you know about how the share price is moving, the more you'll be informed about companies' priorities and where they're going to start to put their energy. And then that can help you decide, how do I invest? How do I move my career? How do I strategically make my next move? So your homework for today is to go find out what your current share price is. Hopefully lots of you who are watching have own shares in the company that you work for or have long-term incentives that are tied to the share price. If you don't and you're not there yet, and that's not your compensation structure, you should stick with me. You should grab a copy of Salary Power Moves, Winning the Compensation Negotiation, because I talk about how to build your incentives in a way that would include share price. And I believe there's some big advantages to that. So grab a copy of that book. But I also want to make sure that folks are thinking about, what is the information that I'm using to gauge and make decisions in the organization that I work in today, or the organization that I'm choosing to go and partner with in the future, or give my time and talents to in the future in exchange for compensation. So I want you to use these things as indicators to understand where the priorities of the company are. So first, I want you to know your share price, and I want you to know it for the last, and again, I want you to know the company you work for share price. I want you to know it over the last 18 months. And then when the opportunity presents itself, if you work for a publicly traded company, go ahead and take an opportunity to listen to the company's earnings call. It'll likely be end of March, mid-March to the end of March for companies who are operating on, your kind of traditional calendar quarters. It's very insightful. It can be very helpful. So I want to make sure that folks are thinking about these inputs and information as they think about their careers. So it looks like Vaughn Brown is with us live. Welcome, Vaughn. Great to have you with us. It looks like Nasir is also with us live. Welcome, Nasir. Great to have you with us. And Nasir says, tech has always been a lagging indicator in relation to our overall economy. Great point. So Nasir brings up a great comment there, because leading indicators and lagging indicators of the economy is another really important tool to use as you're deciding where your next move should be, or whether you should stay in your current organization. I'll talk about that a little bit, maybe the next time that we're on live, since Nas brought it up. I appreciate that, Nasir. These are, as someone who was a corporate insider and spent many years working for and leading parts of an organization, these are very, very, very important indicators of what's happening in your company. And it also is something that most people are just oblivious to. So I came here today specifically as we're talking through, all right, how do I pause the work and go make some corporate friends, go make some professional friends? Pausing the work really allows you to bring your head up. Get out of your silo, get out of the day-to-day, the tactics, the grind that is the job, and then decide for yourself, I need some new information to help me make decisions as it relates to my career and as it relates to the organization that I'm working for today and what organization I want to potentially partner with in the future, or my entrepreneurship journey, whatever it is you choose. I want you to know the information that is available to you. It's accessible. It's free. It costs you $0. It will cost you time, but it will make you a better informed individual so that you can strategically move and have options to make your journey work for you. Because that's what we're here for. Making you make your journey work for you. That's what we're here for at Career Gems for the Journey. So this has been dope. It was fantastic to be with you all today. If you want to fact check me, Yahoo Money as well as the Washington Post are the two sources that I use and to give you the information on Meta's layoff as well as their buyback programs. Feel free. There's some other folks that are out there that have done similar things, and all of the information is, public information. So it's really up to you to do additional research for yourself. We'll be back next week at Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Tuesday we're here. You can join me live. You can also take an opportunity to join me live on LinkedIn or streaming on YouTube. And I said at the top that today is the official launch of Triumph in the Trenches, which is a story of Black professionals in corporate America. All of this ties into that work. It's available on my website at gemsforthejourney.org/triumphs. And you can go grab a copy of that book. Please do take advantage. If you're following me on LinkedIn or any of the social media channels, you can just click on the link. It's available now for pre-order. It is just $29, and it will be an amazing resource for you as you think about your career and strategies going into the future. It's been great to be with you all today. I'm on fire. I'm literally hot. I can't wait to see what the back channels for this look like, because I get lots of DMs and I love the dialogue. I love the engagement. So I look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. Until then, take care.